Libertyville, Illinois, Adlai Stevens.
Wednesday night at 8:30 on TV 12. Soar to new heights with Nova. Tuesday nights at 8 on TV 12.
Hello, I'm Nancy Karibjanian. Coming up next on the TV 12 News, Republican candidate for Senate Jane Brady picks up statewide support.
A man going by the title of taxpayer is asking for an independent auditor to look into the city's credit card system. I'm Byron Scott. We'll have that story tonight.
Veterans hold a 5-day vigil for servicemen still listed missing in action. I'm Tom Hubbard in Wilmington. That story coming up.
A cool change for the weekend. I'm Sue Serio. Forecast is coming up.
And it's week 2 for the Delaware Blue Hens. These stories and much more tonight, Friday, September 14, 1990.
Live from Wilmington, the TV 12 News at 5:30. Your story in Delaware. TV 12 News is made possible in part by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Delaware. Their healthcare plans cover you wherever you go. And they're designed in Delaware, especially to meet your needs here at home.
Good evening. The first story in the first day tonight, Delaware Senator Joe Biden remains in the national political spotlight as day 2 of the Souter nomination hearings come to a close. In Washington, D.C. today, Supreme Court nominee David Souter still did not give specifics on where he stands on such major issues as abortion and church and state. Meanwhile, back on the Delaware home front, the Souter hearings are quickly becoming an issue in the U.S. Senate race. And as TV 12's Sarah Barr reports, as incumbent Joe Biden gets national attention, Republican challenger Jane Brady is winning some support of her own.
It's obvious Jane Brady is among friends here at a Republican fundraiser at the Tallyville Fire Hall. The big names and faces are cheering her on as she takes on a popular incumbent, Joe Biden.
She indeed is a candidate of the Republican Party who reflects what the Republican Party in the state of Delaware and the United States of America stands for.
Ringing endorsements come in person from Governor Mike Castle and via speakerphone from White House Chief of Staff John Sununu. The headliner is engrossed in the budget battle in Washington and couldn't break away.
It is inconceivable that we would have to lock away members of Congress to make them get the job done.
That's just one swipe by Brady targeted at long-term incumbents.
When we elect members of Congress, they should not become professional politicians. They should stay there for 2 terms.
But it's seniority and rank that gives Joe Biden one of the most powerful positions in the Senate, chairman of the Judiciary Committee.
The burden placed upon a state.
Right now, his job is to grill Supreme Court nominee David Souter. But Brady says Biden has prejudged David Souter and accuses Biden of looking for someone who agrees with his own political agenda. Biden's camp says the senator, quote, has not prejudged the Souter nomination, and anyone who watches the hearings will realize that. It appears Jane Brady has prejudged the nomination, citing this July 25th article in the Delaware State News, which reads, she grudgingly agreed that she would have to support those who might battle against Judge Souter, including Senator Biden, if he, Souter, indicated he would vote to overturn Roe v. Wade. Brady says she never felt one way or another if Souter should or should not serve on the Supreme Court. In Wilmington, Sarah Barr, TV 12 News.
Brady went on to say she doesn't think Souter will say how he would vote on any particular issue. State Representative Al Plant and his associate Ellis Carr held a press conference today alleging improprieties on the part of some city officials. TV 12's Byron Scott has more.
There is no way that the public should be footing the bill for 13 credit cards that are being used for personal benefit.
Calling himself, quote, a concerned taxpayer, Ellis Carr made that charge today in Wilmington City Council chambers. At issue is what Carr is calling fraud among the 13 city officials that carry city credit cards. Carr and outgoing state representative Al Plant allege widespread misuse of the city's credit card system. Both men are calling for an independent auditor to check the city's books.
There's rumors out there that even clothes has been bought with these credit cards. These things need to be looked into.
At the center of this controversy is Mayor Frawley's top aide, Gary Fullman. Reports issued by the city solicitor and acting city auditor have cleared Fullman of any wrongdoing involving his use of city funds during a recent trip to Florida. The reports also reviewed the city's credit card system. But neither the city solicitor nor the acting city auditor were available for comment today. However, both reports did indicate a lapse of the system of so-called checks and balances. The city solicitor's report states no one in the charge account payment process undertook the responsibility to check the bills and verify that all expenditures were in conformance with city policy.
We're talking about people below Mr. Foreman and the mayor who has to scrutinize and investigate and review these things. Naturally, they would have some reservations.
The reports did include some recommendations, but Carr and Plant dismissed the reports and are again sounding the familiar trumpet call for an investigation. In Wilmington, I'm Byron Scott, TV 12 News.
Mayor Frawley's aide, Gary Fullman, tells Byron that he declined to go on camera today because Plant's allegations do not, in his opinion, warrant a response. 3 Newark residents narrowly escaped death last night in a spectacular accident along Creek Road. Newcastle County Police say 37-year-old Vincent Inspar lost control of his car, slamming into a cement embankment. Also, he slammed into a utility pole before the car plunged 20 feet into the White Clay Creek. 2 passengers, 33-year-old Kathleen Guthrie and 14-year-old Wendy Moore, were thrown from the car. They both received multiple injuries. Inspar was trapped in the wreckage for almost an hour. A Chester, Pennsylvania man has been officially indicted in the bombing death of a Brandywine 100 resident. The Newcastle County Grand Jury has indicted 37-year-old Jamie Gonzalez on first-degree murder, arson, and other charges, all stemming from a bombing last month. Gonzalez is accused of placing a pipe bomb on the doorstep of a Winterset Farms trailer owned by Julio Gonzalez. The victim, who is not related to the suspect, died a few weeks later at the Crozier Chester Burn Center. Well, coming up next on the TV 12 News, Delaware families eagerly await the return of loved ones from the Middle East and Operation Desert Shield. A team of hard-working, dedicated guardsmen are on their way home to Delaware tonight after wrapping up their duties in Saudi Arabia as part of Operation Desert Shield. The plane bringing the troops home is expected to arrive at Dover Air Force Base in the wee hours this morning. The men and women of the Air National Guard are expected to be home safely just before dawn. Now, this leaves 71 members of the Delaware Guard in the Middle East, and that includes the 34 who left yesterday. While the families of returning Guard members are rejoicing, it's been pain and uncertainty for other military families in Delaware and across the country. TV 12's Tom Hubbard reports on efforts to get answers for the loved ones of those still listed as missing in action.
In the shadow of the statue memorializing those who died, a group of Vietnam veterans spent their 5th straight day of vigil today. 1 day for each Delawarean still listed as prisoner of war or missing in action in Southeast Asia.
We've sent men into battle, and we feel that the United States owes it to those families to make an accurate accounting of their whereabouts.
There are about 7,000 Vietnam-era vets in Delaware. 162 died in the war. 5 are still MIAs. But these vets stress it's not just a Vietnam War issue.
We have totally over 92,000 POW MIAs. That's going from World War I through Vietnam.
Today, with our troops in the Middle East, comparisons with Vietnam are frequently made. But those who served there say it's as different as night and day.
Different political, different military. The whole thing, I feel, is being approached in a different perspective.
Better?
Better.
Petitions urging a full accounting of POW MIAs have been filling up here over the past 5 days. And a special service is slated for 7 tonight. The public is invited. The push by these vets to keep the issue in the minds of the general public range from a national effort to get a commemorative stamp issued to local efforts for floodlights at this memorial statue. Either way, these vets say they're not giving up the fight because the families of POWs and MIAs aren't giving up hope. In Wilmington, Tom Hubbard, TV 12 News.
Well, some of the same veterans holding this week's vigil are part of a 2-year effort to stop cuts in health care benefits. Well, still to come on the TV 12 News, the Eagles look to put their first number of the year in the win column, while the Blue Hens are looking for victory number 2 of their season. Bill Vargas has a look at what's happening with sports. I guess if I want to see the Flyers or anybody else, I can still go to Philadelphia to do so, huh?
Apparently so. It's going to be a couple of weeks before anything official is announced, but evidently a decision has been made. Staying put, that is the latest word on the Sixers and Flyers. Published reports say the two teams have decided not to move to Camden, New Jersey. Today's Philadelphia Inquirer quoting several sources as saying the two teams have decided to stay in Philly and play at a new arena to be built across the street from the Spectrum, right where JFK Stadium presently stands. How about the Eagles? They are firmly set at the Vet, where they are going to host the Phoenix Cardinals on Sunday. Safety Andre Waters, who has an injured knee, says he's not sure whether he'll be able to play. It would be a shame if he doesn't, because the Cardinals have an inexperienced quarterback in Tim Rosenbaugh, who threw 4 interceptions in the team's opening day loss to Washington. So yes, the Eagles should have a field day, but
you have to be very careful, because sometimes when you get a young quarterback like that, you can tend to do things, play outside the defense, and try to do things that you normally wouldn't do against a veteran quarterback, and sometimes you can get burnt like that. You know, you can just roam free and do your own thing instead of playing within the concept of the defense. So it could be dangerous also.
In other words, the Eagles cannot afford to get overconfident, even though they are favored to win this game by almost 2 touchdowns. The Hens are already on their way to New Hampshire, where they're going to face the Wildcats of the University of New Hampshire. The Hens' passing game looked very sharp in their opener last weekend. Bill Vergantino connecting on 16 of 26 passes against BU, but spread end Darren Farrell, who caught 4 of those passes, says it may be tougher to make the aerial hookups this weekend.
Their defense, from the films and everything, is supposed to be a little bit better than what BU's was, and one of the tougher that we're going to see. So it'll be a challenge for us, you know, to get the passing game going against that.
All right, let's turn to baseball. The Phils are ready to again make their imprint on the pennant race. They take on the second-place Mets tonight. The Mets presently a game and a half behind first-place Pittsburgh after beating the Pirates last night. Darryl Strawberry, the hero for the Mets last night, his 3-run homer, the big blow of the game, and also, by the way, moved the straw man into a 3-way tie for the league lead in homers. And boy, you can always tell when a player is on the final year of that contract. Strawberry also with a big play in the field. He helped Dwight Gooden pick up the victory on a base hit by Mike LaValliere. The throw by Strawberry will nail Barry Bonds at the plate, and the Mets score a 6-3 win. And while the second-place Mets now face the Phils, the second-place Toronto Blue Jays continue a series with the Orioles. The O's beat them last night. David Seguin doubled down the line, driving in 2. It was part of a big 5-run rally in the 6th inning, and that would be all the runs the O's would need as they win 5-3. No football in Dover this weekend. Dell State is off. Wesley is on the road, but big sports activity in the form of NASCAR racing at Dover Downs. The Peak Performance 500, always a big race on the NASCAR circuit, even more so this year because it could play a key role in the Winston Cup standings. Right now, just 16 measly points separating leader Mark Martin and number 2 Dale Earnhardt. Also, several other drivers in the top 10 who feel this is a big race.
First and second place is real tight right now with Mark and Dale. But back from like 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, right along in there, we're all connected by about 100 points. And each race is real important. There's only 6 or 7 races left in the season. And, you know, one position can be worth as much as $40,000 or $50,000 in a year in Winston Cup funds. So, you know, it's one of those deals where we've got to run good and got to run strong and try to win some races and try to catch back up and at least try to finish in the top 5 in points to make any money.
Okay. Okay, and at this very moment, as a matter of fact, they are running the qualifying heats to determine pole position for the big race Sunday. By the way, they also have the Grand National 200 tomorrow. So it's a good weekend shaping up. The racing at Dover Downs both Saturday and Sunday. Again, the big one, the 500, is on Sunday. And also Sunday, pro tennis coming to Delaware, an exhibition series at the Del Castle Tennis Center beginning at 11 and lasting until 4 p.m. for pro stars, including Tim Mayotte, to appear in that one.
Can't imagine if there were a bit football down in Dover this weekend. What a traffic nightmare.
Oh, jeez.
Woo! Well, weekend moviegoers hoping to get out of the traffic and looking for some help with their choices may be able to get some helpful advice right now. Here's Patrick Stoner and his quick pick for the week.
Hello and welcome to Quick Picks. I'm Patrick Stoner. A mixed bag this week, a couple of summer holdovers, and the first major fall movie. First, a tearjerker that ate the summer box office.
Is this him? Is this you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cute. White, but cute.
Yeah, everyone knew Patrick Swayze was cute, but nobody thought he could handle the sensitive role of Demi Moore's dead lover. It's a film to be avoided by cynics, but America must be filled with sentimentalists since Ghost has now earned over $100 million. Don't worry, he's a bad guy, and the violence is all of the cartoon variety. The fellow with facial problems is our hero. It's all surprisingly humorous and light, which is odd for a film called Darkman.
Yeah, we just came by to say hi and make sure that everything's up to snuff.
Yeah, everything's great.
And we're going to need a drug screen.
For film buffs, the best movie of this year and much of the 80s, Life Problems of the Rich and Famous is seen through the humor of Carrie Fisher. My pick of the week, Postcards from the Edge. Those are this week's Quick Picks, and Pretty Woman still out there after 6 months. Next week, 3 more films. I'm Patrick Stoner.
Tonight's news programming is made possible in part by the subscribers to TV 12.
Hunt around for your umbrella this morning. Some were successful, some were not. 77 degrees right now, falling barometer at 29.90 inches, 69% humidity, southerly winds at 13 miles an hour. Things finally seem to be cooling off a bit out west. A week-long heat wave, but now it's finally double digits again in Phoenix, Arizona. Moving through to the Ohio Valley, here is a cold front which could be called the line of demarcation between summer weather and an autumn kind of feeling. Quite cool, as you can see behind that front. And here in the east, it's kind of cool, only because of the lack of sunshine, but it's still sticky. It's that tropical air. Well, showers are well ahead of the front, and we saw some a little earlier today. They could continue on and off through early tomorrow morning. Now, when the front actually comes through, is when we'll see probably the worst showers. Now, we had a tornado touchdown here in Michigan today. Heavy thunderstorms. Funnel clouds were sighted as the front moved through. There's even a tornado watch out in western Pennsylvania for this evening. But for us, expect a night with on and off rain, and some of those showers and thunderstorms could be heavy. Then come Saturday morning, lingering showers as the front finally clears through. Then the cool change. Quite windy for Saturday afternoon. By Sunday, a nip of these kind of temperatures as autumn, the feeling anyway, starts to arrive. Highs only in the 70s by Sunday. For tomorrow, here's the rain that we should see in the morning. By the afternoon, it'll start to clear up. It'll be pretty windy, and highs maybe making it to 80 degrees, but it probably won't feel like it. Now here's a look at the forecast for tonight. Cloudy with a chance of showers or thunderstorms through all night long. 65 degrees our low. Windy in the afternoon. Showery in the morning on Saturday. Sort of a schizophrenic kind of day. Could see a storm in the morning, too. For Sunday, partly sunny and a high of 75. How beautiful, and a very pleasant start to next week with cooler temperatures that we should start getting used to.
Not bad. Let's quickly get into something you know very much about. Finally tonight, lots of fun, lots of money, all for a good cause today in Wilmington. The Leukemia Society's Celebrity Waiters Luncheon hauled in an estimated $15,000. Now, the way the money rolled in is the best part. The lunch crowd paid big bucks for the celebrity waiters to do all sorts of chores, like they could sing, they could do whatever that is, they could dance on a table, and some even belly dance. Now, the MC, you saw her a second earlier, was our very own Sue Serio, and you got to do a little bit of that pie throwing?
Well, do you know the people in the room collected $1,100 for the Leukemia Society if I would throw a pie in Mayor Dan Frawley's face.
And did you?
I did it. You bet. Well, unfortunately, the camera had left by then.
Well, I hear you have pictures to prove it. I think
yes.
we want to see it.
I've got the Polaroid.
Where did it go?
Oh, it was.
That's our program for this evening and for this week. No pies in the face here. We'll see you back here on Monday for all the local news. And don't forget, the Souter hearings continue right here on TV 12. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.